Morning. Just sucking on some sweets. It's really rude. Hope you're doing really well. I'm at the amazing Donnington Castle today. I'm going to take you with me. Let's go explore it, enjoy a history lesson. I'll see you on the other side. Situated in the small village of Donnington in West Berkshire lies a ruined castle packed with history and amazing views. Built in 1386 by Sir Richard Atterbury the Elder, it was due to the Atterbury family wanting to fortify the area, having already owning a manor of which they had occupied since 1292. The castle overlooks the Lambourne Valley in an important strategic position, commanding the crossing of the major north to south and east to west routes. The layout consisting originally of a curtain wall with 4 round corner towers, 2 square wall towers and a substantial gatehouse, constructed around a courtyard in the style typical of a fortified residence of the period. In the early 15th century, the castle was held by Thomas Chaucer, son of the poet Geoffrey Chaucer, and later passed into the ownership of the Crown. Henry VIII is reported to have stayed here in 1539 and Elizabeth I in 1568. The demise of the castle came during the English Civil War when in 1643 King Charles I sent Sir John Boys with 200 foot soldiers, 25 cavalry and sufficient cannon to resist a siege, to take possession of Donnington from the parliamentarian John Packer, who at the time owned the castle. With Boys having taken the castle, he set up additional defences around the castle, primarily for his gun emplacements to have a good field of fire. The parliamentarians laid siege to the castle in October 1644, and the garrison held out for 18 months. It was only with permission from the king that Boys surrendered the castle in April 1646, was allowed to leave with all of his men. Parliament voted to demolish the badly damaged castle in 1646, and only the Gatehouse was left standing, which was restored to John Packer. Now, the castle in the hands of English heritage stands to hopefully give people who visit a wonderful reminder of its long and tragic past. Okay, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, aren't I, when I say that this castle ruin is one of the best ruins. Oh dear, so we're in, I think we're in West Berkshire today, I think. And we're at the fantastic Donnington Castle, obviously. Now, because it's a ruin, there's not much left, but I can safely say that what is here is without a shadow of a doubt truly spectacular. Now, look at this. I'll tell you what, it is a glorious day today. Autumn has arrived, depending on when you watch this. Autumn has truly arrived, and it is just beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky, hardly any. Just a few faint whispers. But as you can see, the first thing I want to point you to is, you might be able to see, there's a few gargoyle heads up there. And there's a lot of detail here. Trust me when I say this. If you can get here, come here. Because you will not be disappointed. Well, there are slits. And as you can see, the actual gatehouse is shut for obvious reasons, so we're just gonna let's walk up into it. all of a sudden the wind starts coming through it, almost ekes like a little corridor. But wow, isn't this brilliant? Stick my hand right through. So there's the stairs. We'll see them from the other side, but there are the stairs that take you up. But what you've got to look at is this. Isn't this just beautiful? The roofing of that for the arch. Oh. The detailed work that goes into stuff like this. And it puts it in perspective when you see something as pretty as this. Because you see all the detailing in the bricks. The flint, obviously, that you can see here. Being weathered by time. And then, as we always love, seeing bits of nature trying to eke their way out. Now, let's try not to get into the shade too much, because we want to actually take a look at it, don't we? But wow! Wow. A few little molehills. And then look as you open up into this. Oh my word. Isn't this just the prettiest thing? This castle reminds me a lot of Sutton Valence Castle, if you know that one in near Maidstone in Kent. Very similar, in fact. Obviously, actually very similar in lots of ways, because it's English heritage as well, which is what this castle is. But also, there you've got this prominent gatehouse, probably quite similar to Hadley Castle as well, if you're from Essex and you want a point of reference. If you came here, although this is clearly really pretty in its own right, you're not going to feel necessarily sort of too out of place. If you visited this and you'd visited either one of those castles before, you'll feel a sense of familiarity with it. But like I said, there's not much here. But as I've said on many a video, that's not the point. The point is, it's what's left that's here that we can all enjoy ourselves. And that's the most important thing, isn't it? Really is. Right, so we've now entered the inner sanctum of the castle. And when you're in here, this gatehouse is so huge that it sort of puts everything out of perspective, because you've got these ruins that are here and you've got the outline, and for all intents and purposes it looks really small, but I can promise you it's rather large here. You won't be disappointed. Oh, just pick the right day, I think, today. Pick the right day. Now, what you can see here, can you see the red bricks? Now, I think that might be from when there was damage, and what they've done is that they've obviously put that in there to try and butt it up against it a bit more, to reinforce it. Up there, let's try and get a little bit closer. There is an absolutely beautiful little statue. If you can see that just about. I'm so sorry I can't zoom in on this camera. But absolutely fascinating. And then as we walk in, as we'll be heading out of the castle in theory, we have a look, and if you can have a look there, passage, and there's also another passage here. I didn't see that from the opposite side. Oh, sorry. I didn't see that from the opposite side. There's a little broom trying to clear up some masonry, I'm assuming. And I reckon they're the steps that lead right the way up to the top. Again, look at that patterning on that. Isn't that incredible? So beautiful. And then as we look in, we can see people have created their own bits of history, I suppose, by etching their names and everything else within the masonry and the work. But it's as you walk out and you see now the layout of this castle, which isn't much, but it's enough. Well worth the visit here, and there are times when I will say, hands out, even if you're not local to this place and you can make it, come here. It is so worth it just for this place. There's also a pub called the Castle, which is down the road. So if you do want to go for a meal or something, you can go there as well. You know, you're not necessarily in the middle of nowhere, but brilliant nonetheless, isn't it? The fact we've got a pub down the road called the Castle. We've got obviously the castle, which relates to it, and then more importantly, we've got this wonderful brickwork and everything, this masonry. It is so fantastic. And you can see within these little windows a doorway that would have been there. Absolutely fantastic. Some beam posts there as well. I think somebody down there is having a bit of a bonfire going on down there. One of the gardeners in the allotments or something, it looks like down there. Spectacular. So I think what we'll do, we'll just walk around the perimeter one more time, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not much here, but what is here is fantastic. Like I said, looking up. Isn't that just brilliant? I'm assuming that where I am is in one of the outer turrets, because you can see it circulates around there, and then there's another one that's sort of down there as well. So yeah, let me take you for a walk round. Right, so where I'm standing now, there's a lot of ditches and ramparts that are here, and this is at the back of the castle. So what you'll find is that the sort of, well, if I sort of explain it to you, so the ditch goes down, goes really sharply down, and then beyond the castle goes down, and that's where the car park is at the bottom. But when you come up here, you're relatively flat. In fact, you're on sort of like a clearing really for the sort of landscape. But all around here you can see these extensions of these ditches that sort of weave their way out, these sort of almost defensive ditches, aren't they? So, but they just sort of make to be mounds in this like unusual ground, and then as you walk through, it just really highlights how sort of bumpy it is really on this ground, but it's absolutely spectacular. And then the castle gate standing proud there. Brilliant, isn't it? So you can almost see the layout of it, you can see its design. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we've had a nice little time, haven't we? A mini explore for today. We've had a look at the gatehouse, we've looked at the sort of ditches surrounding it, and we've looked obviously in the wall, the curtain wall really, I suppose, that's surrounding it. How brilliant, how brilliant. Just a quick final note, as I said, this is where it sort of keeps following around, and then, like I said, it levels out over the top there. So it sort of just comes down to the car park, follows it round, and then there you go. But simply beautiful. So with autumn comes the shorter hours, comes the unpredictable weather, the falling of the leaves, and the incredible memories that we have as we sort of walk through the soggy grass, hear the smells of bonfires and everything else. Autumn's a beautiful time. Really glad I got to come here, especially when the weather was actually being it behaved itself today for me, so I'm very grateful for that. But what an incredible place. And I'm sure at some point I will revisit this place because of its just beauty and the fact that it is you can head towards Wiltshire. We're very close. So I'm sure that at some point when I'm on my ventures and I have some time in the day, maybe I might come back and revisit. Just for my own personal sort of satisfaction. Well, thank you so much for coming along with me. In immortal words of Phoenix history, because history matters, never before have they been even more truer than what this place, it really does sort of symbolise history, doesn't it? If the walls could talk. Yeah, so thank you for coming along with me. Feel free to spread the word of the channel. Much love to all of you out there. Thank you so much for your kindness and your patience. In immortal words of Phoenix history, because history matters, and I will see you all very soon. Look after yourselves, everybody. Kapow.